Some people cook their fruits.
I don't know why.
And vegetables. Well, vegetables I get. Tastes better, right?
Theoretically, what happens is, if you add salt, oil, or sweetener and you cook something, it doesn't necessarily taste better, but it manipulates the brain to make you want to eat more of it.
All right, guys. Part 3 with Doug Evans, the Sprout King himself. Thanks for coming back.
Hey, my pleasure, Sean. I love you here.
You were one of my first viral guests ever, so thank you for coming on that first time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I remember a lot of those clips blew up.
Yeah, well, look, and now, like, the whole category of sprouting is blowing up.
I'm seeing more and more videos about it. You were like the first person, I feel like, in that space.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what happened is, let's just get right into it. When I moved to the desert, I realized I was not only in an environmental desert, I was in a food desert. And that I wanted to eat clean eating. I've been eating plants, raw vegan plants for 25 years. So when I moved to the desert, I was like, what am I going to eat? So I literally asked the universe, what can I eat? And it said, you can eat sprouts. And I knew about sprouts, and I always thought of sprouts as a garnish or a side dish. But then, with nothing else available, my perspective changed, and I saw sprouts as food, not just as a garnish. I saw them as vitamins and minerals. And then I remembered that early quote from Hippocrates that said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And there's a place called the Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, and they serve people sprouts. Like, that's what's on the menu, sprouts, to heal and treat chronic illnesses like cancer and heart disease and other stuff. They are treating them with sprouts.
Crazy. And you lived off sprouts for 30 days in a row, right?
Yeah, easily 30 days or longer. And the fact is, I thought like maybe I'd be missing something, and that's what caused me to go down the rabbit hole. And I went down it, like, people say, where do you get your protein? Every single sprout contains every amino acid to form complete proteins. And if you have a variety of sprouts, you're definitely getting complete protein.
Right. Yeah. Amino acids are the building blocks, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, where does a horse, where does a cow, like where does a grass-fed cow get its protein from? Right? From grass. And you don't have to be a ruminant in order to process the amino acids into proteins.
Right.
So there are billions of people around the world that are eating just plants, but society, and this is what I love about your podcast, is you tell the truth. Society wants you to eat cooked food, processed food, refined food, meat, dairy, animal products, cereals, potato chips, fast food, anything that they could put in a container, a bag, or a box will have a long shelf life and high margins, whether they're using additives, preservatives, food coloring, natural flavors. They don't care. It's like that industry just wants to profit off of you. And the origins, and I think you know this, of the processed and ultra-processed food industry are the tobacco companies, right? That's where they came from. When the cigarette sales started to decline, R.J. Reynolds, bought Nabisco, right? And Philip Morris bought Kraft and General Mills. So the world shifted to them using the scientists and the marketing expertise to drive sales at the expense of human health.
Right. And you see a lot of these big food companies acquiring healthy local brands, like Siete Foods got acquired yesterday for $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
People are really upset.
Yeah, well, what's going to happen is they're just going to take the brand, leverage off of the goodwill, and push it as far as they can, to make it profitable. And there's no interest in health. Right.
Yeah, Pepsi bought them out, so they're not really known for being healthy.
No, I mean, and it's okay. Like, capitalism is perfect. What you want to do is just let the buyer beware and have people being tuned in. And the fact, like, for me, everything that I put in my mouth is a life or death decision. And, on like one of our previous pods, we talk about cravings, right? I went deep down the rabbit hole of the microbiome, and we have 38 trillion different microorganisms in our stomach that are non-human. Yeast, fungus, parasites, are living in our gut, and they are processing what we eat, and they are controlling and driving our cravings and our habits. So when people, the great example is when Morgan Spurlock did Super Size Me.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when he started to eat the McDonald's and was supersizing it, he kind of liked it, right? Towards the end, he loved it because the microbes had shifted and they were highly addicted to that. So, we, especially in Vegas, there's gambling addiction, there's sex addiction, there's drugs, there's alcohol. The number one addiction in the world is food, because you don't have to gamble, you don't have to have sex, right? You don't have to smoke crack, but you have to eat. And as soon as you eat, it opens up the framework to the reptilian survival brain that just needs to eat. And this brain is wired that if you're eating food that is rich in fat, it causes the dopamine pleasure sensor in the brain, right? Because if we were born into starvation and scarcity, and now there's food, someone has to tell the body to keep eating, right? If you think about, a child, a baby, and I have a 2-year-old baby, the way that she goes for the boob, the way that she wants the milk, is not because the milk tastes good. It's because the milk contains casein, and the casein has a metabolic reaction in her brain that says, hey, this is my source of survival. I need this. And that's why when you take milk and you give it to an adult, even though there are no adults in nature that are consuming dairy, it just doesn't happen. What is dairy designed for? A baby calf to turn into a 2,000-pound cow, right? That's what that milk is designed for. But if you give that milk to you, right, you're going to feel like, oh, okay, milk is good. I like milk. People like milk. And if you take cheese, you're just condensing the water out, concentrating the casein and the hormones that are inside. So milk is just very addictive. Same thing with meat. So we just have to be aware that if you start to eat this, and the food companies play with this as well. They know, Pringles, you can't just eat one, right?
Hell no.
Because the salt, the oil, and the fat, makes it highly, highly addictive.
Did you see they just changed all the names of the food colorings to make it more kid-friendly?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I was just on a panel with Callie Means and with Vani Hari at Jesse Itzler's Running Man, which is amazing. He has a running event, and he takes the initiative to have a food panel to talk about the atrocities that are going on in the food industry at a running. And it was so crazy. I went there with Mike Posner.
Yeah.
I fed him Sprouts, and he did a 50K ultra on Sprouts. And then an hour and a half after he finished this 5-hour race, he did a 16-song concert.
What? So he had all that energy.
All that energy. And it's all recorded. Jesse had full camera crew. You could see, and he did the songs, and it was just amazing. And I was like an obstacle on this 50K ultra where I was standing on the track with stainless steel tongs handing out Sprouts to people while they're running. Because the alternative is they're going to have gels and processed food and junk carbohydrates and junk protein as opposed to a natural way of getting their nutrients.
Yeah. I'll pick Sprouts over Gatorade.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, to me, there's no difference between Gatorade and coolant fluid for my car. Right? They even look the same. They radiate the same. So it's just a matter of being aware of what you're willing to eat.
Right. So Sprouts for the food side of things. What about drinking? Are you just doing water?
Actually, most of my water comes from plants. I'm drinking this because I'm in Vegas and I'm just here and I'm not eating during this. But most of my water source is coming from eating raw fruits and vegetables.
Oh, wow.
And Sprouts are vegetables.
So there's enough water in the Sprouts?
There's enough water in the Sprouts. There's more water in fruit. But basically, that is the ultimate structured water. If you imagine, in a piece of fruit, the rainwater filtered through the organic soil, the roots, the shoots, the stems, and the leaves, and you're processing them. By chewing them, you're extracting the water molecules from the cytoplasm of the plant, and you are getting structured water. So in a way, Like this water that we're drinking here, the can is incrementally better than the plastic bottle, but this can is lined with plastic.
I just found that out, actually, yeah.
So it's lined with plastic. So the best thing is drinking in glass, but even better is to have a natural source of just eating your water through nutrient-rich raw fruits and vegetables.
Like a watermelon.
Watermelon, but basically all raw fruits and vegetables have high concentrations of water.
Some people cook their fruits.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And vegetables. Well, vegetables I get. Tastes better, right?
I mean, theoretically, what happens is, if you add salt, oil, or sweetener and you cook something, it doesn't necessarily taste better, but it manipulates the brain to make you want to eat more of it.
That makes sense.
So in my world, with no added oil, no added salt, no added sweetener, you're eating. And one of the reasons people are overeating is because of the processing of the food. So if I were to give you a handful of sprouts, you'd eat X amount and you'd be like, okay, I'm done. But if we were to pour olive oil, vinaigrette on it, it's like you wouldn't even taste the sprouts. It's just a filler for it. So my idea is to eat the food in a natural state and think about, like, in nature, there are no animals in nature that are overweight. Like, you take a lion in the jungle, and it's surrounded like king of the jungle. It could eat anything that it wants to. It eats when it's hungry and stops eating when it's full. It doesn't overeat, right? It's not gluttonous. But if you were to look at, three mammals, three animals basically get chronic illnesses: humans, dogs, and cats.
Wow.
So as soon as we're domesticated, that's when the chronic illnesses kick in.
That's crazy. Yeah, I see some fat dogs these days.
Oh my God. Well, and I'm sure the owner is also fat, right? So you're seeing fat dogs, fat owners. And look, it's not, to me, about shaming, right? This is about, healthy, right? So we know, like, all the studies on longevity show that a caloric restrictive diet is the best for longevity, right? We know that heart disease is a silent killer, right? And we know that if you're eating raw fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, seaweeds, and sprouts, you reduce the risk of heart disease. Like, this is just fact. So I'm not telling everyone, like, what to eat or what not to eat. I'm just saying, open up your eyes and be aware that everything that you eat is a life or death decision. And you want to be present with the food that you're willing to consume, because there's no truer adage than what we grew up on, is that you are what you eat.
Yep.
Right? You are what you eat. So my philosophy is, like, raise your standards of what you're willing to eat, and then you will have a higher quality life.
Absolutely. And I really like your diet too, because I know last time we talked about this, but living off of sprouts and the food you eat isn't that expensive.
I mean, it's the most affordable way. Like, if you buy seeds, right, it's under $1 a serving for organic vegetables. And one of the things I also like about this is that it's fresh, right? It's fresh. So most, I don't know where your audience is, all over the world, but in the United States, most salad comes from Salinas Valley, California. So it's on trains and trucks going in bags and boxes across the country in refrigerated trucks, where most of that weight is coming from what? Water.
Water, yeah.
They're shipping water weight. And the produce is cut off from the life force, from the ground, from the roots, from the soil. So you have something that's raw, something that was fresh, but it's decaying over time. So when you can have a sprout, you are eating something fresh harvest. Every day, I'm eating a fresh harvest from my own sprouting kit every single day. And with those fresh sprouts, I'm eating the entire living organism, the root, the shoot, the endosperm, the embryo. It's all happening live and fresh right in front of me. So I'm very aware of what I'm eating, where it's coming from, where most people have no idea. Like the kids they think food comes from the supermarket. They don't know where it's coming from, the farm or the origins of the food.
They don't tell you either.
They don't want you to know. They don't even know because most of the food companies are just brands and they're dealing with co-packers and the supply chains, and the produce could be coming, from, anywhere in the world. There was an expose on Whole Foods where they had organic California medley vegetables grown in China.
What?
Yeah, I'll send you the clip.
How are they able to put that label on it then?
Well, because California medley is just like it's just a brand. It's just like they're just labeling it there.
Wow.
But then they put in the small print, grown in China. So you don't know whether your produce is coming, from over the border mixed with sewer sludge as fertilizer. So that's where it's really important, to be aware of the food that you're willing to eat.
Yup. I just found out for meat and seafood, actually, they could say USA based if they just process it in the USA, but it could come from another country.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine like eating that. If you look at foodborne illness and outbreaks, from those things, you look at the concentration of toxicity in chemicals and heavy metals in it, and then the impact of LDL cholesterol, on the arteries. Like, we have to really like just take a breath and think about like, if we want to be healthy and we want to have the energy, right, we should raise our standards of what we're willing to eat.
Yeah. Now I just found out coffee, 1 in 4 has mold.
I think it's more.
It's more than that?
It's more than that.
That's disgusting. So if you just go to Starbucks, there's a good shot you're drinking mold.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the mold, in coffee, they are roasting it, right? And then they're adding high heat. So the mold toxicity level is potentially inflated and conflated. But the fact is, you want to know like the source. Like if people really care, like the people who I know that are coffee connoisseurs, they get green beans and they roast them themselves. And they're getting organic and they're getting, they're going through the whole process. And it's not about, most people are drinking coffee not for the flavor, not for the artisanal qualities, because they need the caffeine to stimulate their adrenal system, because they need to overcompensate for the fact that they're not getting sleep and they're eating a crappy diet, which depletes the energy.
Yeah, they use that as a source of energy, 100%. Most people drink coffee for that reason, I'd say.
Do you know I never had a cup of coffee in my life?
Really?
Yeah.
Tea?
No tea.
No tea or
I've had tea. I'll have some herbal tea, like maybe 1 or 2 cups a year.
Wow.
And
So you're just
never had a cup of coffee.
You naturally have energy.
I mean, the energy is coming from having a desire and having a will, and also not doing anything that affects the perfect harmony of my body.
Yeah, no alcohol, no smoking.
No.
That's cool.
Like alcohol, we know is a metabolic poison, destroys every cell that it encounters. Like, that's like poison. Like, why do we want to eat poison?
And it's easily accessible in America. You just walk in and buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it just goes into the drugs, processed food, alcohol, like all of these things, because people aren't, present. It's society. Like, I don't think that anyone's doing anything wrong. I think what's happening is the deck is now stacked against the American public. Like, the major agencies don't work for protecting us consumers. They work for the food companies and the farming companies. Like, if there wasn't a farm bill subsidizing meat production, like a hamburger would cost $35 a pound, right? Chopped meat would cost $35 a pound, but the farm bill is subsidizing it. So like everything is just stacked towards money, just in this society where I'm looking at like what's really important is health.
Wow, I didn't know about that farm bill.
Yeah, do some research on the farm bill. Get some USDA, FDA guys. Get a lobbyist. Get an ex-lobbyist.
Yeah.
From Washington D.C.
I'd love to hear their mindset. I've had Callie Means on, and Casey's coming on next week. But yeah, I'd love to get a former employee at these government agencies.
Yeah, Callie would know one, because I'm sure. Yeah, what's happening is like the same way like people who work in the slaughterhouses eventually can't take it anymore, and before they quit, they stuff a video camera up their ass, they sneak it in, and they film the atrocities that go on in there.
Jesus.
Right? And do you know that in the U.S., if you film what goes on in a slaughterhouse, they treat it as terrorism.
Whoa. So that's a felony.
It's beyond a felony. Like, it's very, very strict. You could go to jail for 20 plus years because they're calling it domestic terrorism because it can affect the profitability of those heinous organizations. So that was one way that they wanted to prevent it. And believe it or not, there are still people willing to risk 20 years in prison in order to share and expose the atrocities that go on.
Yep, I had one of them on the show. She rescued 4 chickens from a slaughterhouse. She has an ankle monitor on right now, and she's going to court soon. She's facing 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really, you know.
And it's messed up because that slaughterhouse is one of the biggest businesses in that city she's in. So they pretty much have the police, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the deck is stacked.
Yeah, they have everyone on their side. So because it's bringing in a lot of money for that city.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is this case and this woman, you know, will bring out the atrocities, and we'll just see. But that's where, like, I don't even know who to tell you to vote for. Like, I don't even want to talk politics. But what we have to do is have individual agency to make better decisions, you know, for yourself, your family, and your friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I know last time we were talking, you were a fan of RFK and Marianne Williamson.
Yeah,
both great people.
Yeah, you got Marianne on the pod?
She's gonna come back on, and then I'm trying to get RFK before the election.
Yeah,
I like what he's doing with going up against all this stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it's really I love it, and you know, it's the interesting thing when he's willing to have discussions about things that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, I've never seen this in politics where they're going after big pharma and big food companies. So I think people are waking up.
I mean, I think we have no choice. I mean, the level, you know, it used to be like 1 out of 150 people would get autism, and now it's like 1 out of 38.
Crazy, and that's what they're saying it is. Could be even worse.
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad you had Marianne, and you're still in touch with RFK's team.
Yeah, I'm on their list, but he's been all over campaigning. So maybe after the election when he's more cooled down.
All right, when this drops, I'll text it to him and I'll give him another reminder. He should do it.
Yeah, because Tulsi was a great episode, and they've been touring together.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I mean, you're doing really important work. What's your goal of this pod?
Educate, inspire, get the truth out there, man. Because when I was filming this thing 2 years ago, I couldn't even say the V word, vaccines. I couldn't even say certain topics. And now I can, which is a great sign. And now I just want to keep pushing the truth.
Amazing.
You know?
Amazing. Well, look, what I will say is, like, this sprouting world, you have a kit, right, that is stainless steel and glass. And you put 1/4 cup of seeds in, and 5 days later, you get a full jar of edible organic.
Wow. That's quick.
So 5 days, and it's so simple that what we're seeing right now is that people are growing sprouts. You know, like, it's hard to believe. Like, when I wrote, you know, this book, the Sprout book, and we had another one out, like, this book became a national bestseller. Like, broke into the top 70 best-selling books on Amazon.
Crazy.
And it's a paperback book about sprouts, right? With no budget behind it, no PR, just organically spread because it resonated with the consciousness. So now, you know, what people are buying, literally, from the sprouting company, people are putting in large bags. So they're buying 10, 20 bags of the seeds, and they're putting them in their bunkers. So they're prepared, you know, for a crisis.
Smart.
Right? So sprouts are the #1 survival food because their seeds can last a long time because they have nature's preservative, and all you need to do is add water. So during the last pandemic, when people were fighting over Kraft macaroni and cheese and Coca-Cola and toilet paper, we had no concern because we had hundreds of pounds of seeds ready to rock and roll, ready to grow our own food.
They just ran out of toilet paper yesterday in Vegas.
Really?
The ports closed down. Did you see this?
Wow. No,
Yeah, so there's port strikes right now on the East Coast. So all the ports are closed.
Wow.
Toilet paper's sold out again everywhere.
Wow.
Crazy, but when you got these seeds, you're good.
Yeah, and get a bidet.
Yeah, definitely get a bidet. I don't know why people even use that toilet paper. It's actually bad for you.
Yeah. I mean, like if you got chocolate smeared on your arm, you're going to wipe it off or you're going to wash it off.
I use bamboo toilet paper.
Yeah. We have a bidet in every bathroom in the house.
Smart. So you don't even use any toilet paper?
No.
Wow. How do you dry it off?
Air. do some jumping up and down.
Oh, you're funny, bro. Yeah. You could probably live off the grid if you wanted to.
I mean, we have a house that's fully off the water grid, electric grid, has solar, has batteries, has a well.
Wow. That's the way to live because my electric bill last month was $2,000, water bill was $2,000, and I'm at their mercy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, there are, solar is not without its complications, right? And I dread the day in 50 years when they need to, dump all those solar panels. But in the now, it's definitely a much better solution, especially as it's getting hotter. The electric bills are going up, so they're probably charging you second and third and fourth tier charges just for running, the environment. They're not taking into consideration that would be unsafe if you didn't do that. But what I would suggest is sleep outside.
Yeah, that's too hot though.
At night?
In Vegas, yeah, probably not in the summer, but yeah, maybe now I could.
I mean, we have a nice 6-person tent, and we have 3 twin mattresses inside, and we sleep outside.
Really? Yeah. So you don't even have a master bedroom inside?
We have a bedroom, but the preference is to sleep outside.
Wow. And is that for the grounding aspect that you're doing that?
It's to see the stars and the Milky Way and the galaxy,
That's
and
cool.
also to get that fresh night air. So even if it's really hot, and you can get like a little mister, and that will cool you off quite a bit.
That's interesting.
Just a matter of just getting used to it. But I would go sleep on a lawn chair, one night, see how it feels.
They say sleeping on the ground is actually good for you, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, just if you want to be, like grounding is the greatest. I'm just saying from a comfort level, if you got a lounge chair and you don't want to be on the ground, and I don't know if you've got vermin and other critters, just being.
We got scorpions.
You got scorpions, so slightly elevation.
That'd be smart. I just went stargazing 2 days ago.
Where'd you go?
Out here, there's a pitch black road, 20 minutes from my house.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I haven't done that in 15 years, dude.
Yeah, I would put on your calendar next August 12th.
August 12th.
There's the Perseid meteor shower, and you might be able to see a shooting star every minute.
So I saw 2 when I went 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I'd love to go. August 12th, shooting star.
Yeah. It's an annual meteor shower.
You ever see any UFOs when you were doing this?
Yeah, I don't want to go down that path.
Don't want to get you in trouble there.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit we don't know.
Yeah, I feel that. What else you been working on lately? I know you've been going to the farmers markets, selling these out, right?
Yeah, I mean the main thing is getting the message out. So I've been doing a lot of like science backed. So I'm working on my second peer reviewed published white paper. We're doing live events. So we did Jesse Itzer's Running Man. So I know you want to get Jesse on the pod. We'll send him a clip. But the main thing is like every day, having dozens of conversations, in podcast form, interviews, one-on-one, just supporting people. Because I think what's happening is sprouting in other countries, like in Japan, broccoli sprouts alone are $1 billion industry.
Whoa.
Like one company is $1 billion company selling broccoli sprouts, and they're selling them in 20,000 retail stores. So like in 7-Eleven, you can get broccoli sprouts.
Really?
In Japan, right?
Wow.
Because they think of broccoli sprouts as a health food and as something to prevent and to treat cancer. So they know that there. And so here, it's just the beginning. So it's really like blue ocean, to be able to get this message out there. So, what I'm working for, I just, last week, Mike Posner and I, we met with Gary Vee and the Vayner team, and they're super stoked about sprouting. And just every week, every day, it's like getting the messages out there and seeing how people are transforming their lives. I put out in the, in your mastermind chat, about people who want to lose weight naturally, because this, I don't know how many people are on Ozempic
A lot.
and the weight loss drugs, and they're working on pushing the standard care that if you have a 12-year-old that's overweight or obese, they want to put them on these weight loss drugs at 12, and they'll be on them for life. So, what we've, uncovered in the research is that by eating sprouts, they're super high in fiber. They are low in calories and low in fat. So they will fill up the stomach and they will create the GLP-1 peptide and give you the feeling of satiation. So if someone were just eating sprouts, not just exclusively, but if they're eating sprouts, they're actually nourishing themselves at a core level. They're getting more fiber, more structured water into their system, and high concentration of micronutrients and phytonutrients. So if you know anyone that is overweight or obese, that wants to naturally shift their diet, shift their health, shift their physique, start eating sprouts and adding sprouts to the diet.
That's simple, huh?
It's that simple.
Wow. Yeah, these Ozempic pills, who knows what the side effects would be on those?
I mean, we already know, but here's the dilemma, right? It's a real catch-22. I would rather see someone lose weight at any cost than stay obese or morbidly obese. So, because the risk factor of being so heavy and the stress on the internal organs and the risk of a heart attack is so great, and the risk of diabetes is so great that, and diabetes is a trap. Type 2 diabetes leads into type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's and dementia, and the obesity leads into heart disease, that it's really important for people to lose weight. So the research is now, if you look at how to lose weight, right, you can get the gastro bypass, stapling of the stomach, very effective. Ozempic, almost as effective as the gastro bypass, with less risk, right? Because you're not going under the needle and the full part. But the healthy part is eat fresh, raw fruits and vegetables, walk a little, and like you can start exercising, just barely moving, but just getting to the level of movement. And that's like the healthy way to do it.
Absolutely. Are you still running barefoot?
I run barefoot. I run in my 5 fingers. I'm big right now on the trampoline. So I love the mini rebounder and the trampoline just to accelerate the shifting of the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic fluids. So I'm doing that. And, last year I ripped through 100,000 push-ups.
Damn.
So
how many is that a day?
That's 274 a day.
Holy crap.
Which is not a lot. I do like sets 40, 50, or 60.
Whoa.
And, 5, 6 sets and bang it out. And I listen to Eminem, Not Afraid.
That's a classic.
And, and I encourage everyone, body weight exercises. Like you can go to a gym, nothing wrong with the gym, but if you can run free, you could do push-ups free, you could do burpees, jumping jacks, pull-ups. So I'm building an outdoor gym right now just so I could do my pull-ups, and muscle-ups, just because like you got to have movement.
Yeah.
And you got to have some strength training. And air squats are like free. I want to go for my air squats. My goal this year, I'd like to be able to start doing some pistol squats.
Those are tough. Wow, you've convinced me to buy a trampoline now. I need to look into those.
Yeah, just get a little mini rebounder. It's like $100. Jump up and down for 2 or 3 minutes.
Mini rebounder. I just bought a vibration machine too. Have you seen those?
Yeah, those are great. Those are great for the lymphatic system.
I heard that.
But I just think like all of these like little things are helpful. But when there's a natural alternative to jumping up and down versus being on the vibrator, I would err to jump up and down.
Well, Tony Robbins brings a trampoline everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
So he knows what's up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's all these biohacks you could use, but like you said, I think the main thing is diet and the lifestyle.
And just movement. Like I think the next time we do this pod, I want to be standing.
I'm down.
Like sitting down. Like just wire us up, move the cameras back a little bit further, and just be more alive.
That should be a show. Just take a walk with your guests and film the whole thing.
I think so.
That'd be cool.
I think so. I mean, like just movement or even running. We should do a running pod.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd have to keep the pace honest, but yeah, I'm down. I just ran a 5K last week.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
You run every day?
No, it was my first time in 10 years.
So off the bench, 5K. Good for you.
25 minutes.
Yeah, 3.1 miles. That's good stuff.
A lot of it's mental, dude.
Yeah,
it's
all
running
mental.
is very mental.
It's all mental.
I used to run back in the day, and I had a weak mindset.
Yeah, now you got a strong mindset.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Comes with 1,000 podcast episodes.
That's how many you've done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look at your schedule, you just bang them through.
Yeah. 25 this week.
That's amazing. And
Yeah,
how often do you drop them?
3 a day, so 21 a week.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I'm going to go for the world record. I should be there in 2 years.
I think you could do it in 1 year.
Well, it'd be tough because Joe Rogan has about 3,000. So if I did it in 1 year, I would have to drop a lot. And I think 3 a day is already a lot for most people. So I'm gonna give it 2 years.
Okay.
But I'll catch him. You'll see me in 2 years from now. I will be past Joe Rogan in episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I love
right?
it. Just keep going.
Yeah, he had a 15-year head start, so I had to catch up.
Yeah. And what do you think is the hardest thing about what you're doing?
Facing censorship is tough because it stunts your growth. So certain guests will shadow ban me. I'm sure you've experienced this with what you teach. My views are down 80% right now.
Really?
Yeah.
On social or on the pods?
On social, because I had Tulsi Gabbard on. I had this guy named Sneeko and a few other political ones, and they just shadow banned me since.
Well, how do you get out of the shadow ban box?
I'm still figuring it out. But if it wasn't for guests being able to collaborate on the post, I'd be so screwed because I'm shadow banned. So if I just did solo episodes and had no collaborators, I'd be done, dude. And most people are like that.
Wow.
So it's tough.
Yeah, I think you got to get Zuck on the pod.
I'm down. He seems to be turning a new leaf.
Yeah. I think you got to appeal directly to him. I mean, you have a big enough audience that I would promote ads. You know,
hey, Zuck, come on.
Zuck, yeah, just say, like, what's up?
Yeah.
You know, like, you got, like, the shadow banning, I think, is really tough.
I'm sure you face it, too, in your space. Anything holistic, they don't like.
Yeah, they don't like.
Not at all.
Yeah,
it's getting better, but not there yet.
They want you to, like, literally shower in Purell.
I mean, think about half their advertisers. Who are they?
Yeah, I mean, they want to have gloves with Purell, you know, squirting out of it. Like the Spider-Man glove, but with Purell.
Think about Purell sales during the pandemic.
I mean, it's crazy.
They must have made a killing.
Just crazy.
I used to use it every day in high school.
Yeah.
And that's probably made my microbiome worse in my hands.
Yeah, it's other than the best ever.
Yeah, and even the hand soap they use everywhere, that pink is terrible for you.
Yeah, I mean, I go to different places, so I haven't even seen the pink. I can't even imagine the last time.
Yeah.
But look, I think that's a whole other thing. Like, you know, rather than carrying around Purell, carry around a little, you know, 3-ounce jar of Dr. Bronner's.
I use Bronner's.
Yeah, carry that shit with you.
I didn't know they made mini ones.
They make mini ones, travel ones.
Nice. I'll start
You know,
doing
perfect. So you could even bring it on the airplane. Because you don't want to go to the hotel and use their crap.
that. Nah, the hotels are always a struggle, man.
But that's the whole thing. And look, you know, brings me to like the last point I want to talk about, travel. People always say like, oh, how do you travel? How do you eat clean when you travel? It's like you call the hotel in advance and say, remove all the alcohol, all the soda, all the candy, all the chips, right? I want an empty refrigerator in the room. And then you call Instacart and have them load it up so you're getting what you want. So you're not a victim of your circumstances. You are taking initiative on what you're willing to consume.
Yep. Yeah, I do that same thing. I call Instacart, get the Spring Valley Mountain Water. I get the natural toothpaste and natural toothbrush and everything, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's it. Well, Sean, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep,
bro.
thanks for coming on. Well, do you sell these online yet?
Yeah, these are on. They're in stock right now.
Cool.
Thesproutingcompany.com. It's just beautiful. Anything that touches the sprouts.
All glass too, which I like.
Yeah, glass and, you know, easy to hold. Glass, stainless steel.
Love it. We'll link that below. We'll link the book below. Thanks for coming on, Doug.
Okay.
Yep, thanks for watching, guys.